Hello and welcome to another episode of All Strength.
Know it.
This is Eric,
And Oscar.
and today we have a special guest, Mr. S0ulSaint.
Yeah. You guys can call me Soul, by the way.
Soul is one of the streamers I enjoy watching. So if you guys ever on Twitch, check out S0ulSaint. It's with a O though, or a zero, right?
Yeah, it's S0ulSaint with a zero instead of it.
So make sure you guys check him out. Fun times. Today we had him wax his feet because we had a goal. His legs, sorry.
They're all connected at the end of the day. It's fine. At least for now.
Oh, God. But, yeah, today we brought him on. That way we get some info on the 411 on the streaming side. We'll go over some questions with him on the behind the scenes of the streamer life.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm also looking forward to it too, as well, man. Like, what, Eric? You've been inviting me for the longest, dude. We haven't had a chance to set up, so now it's time. It's finally time, you know.
I know it's been a while. But yeah, that way you guys get a little bet of background on streaming. I know a lot of people do try to at least start streaming, and then things to look for, and et cetera, et cetera.
And especially now when you're stuck at home and maybe you do have a little extra time and you want to try it for yourself. It'd be pretty cool.
So let's get down to the nitty gritty here.
Let's do it.
Soul, what got you to start streaming, sir?
Believe it or not, when I first started, I actually played World of Warcraft. I was with a raid group of people, and I recently joined a raid team that needed my class at the time, or they wanted my class. They wanted another DPS to kind of fill in the shoes of, I guess, their ranks, right? And I performed really, really well, despite not having proper gear or anything along those lines. I had another person who played the exact same class challenge me to, when we were doing our raids in. They saw me perform better than them, despite being at a deficit when it came to gear and a whole bunch of other things. So it got down to a point where they were so impressed, and a lot of other people were also impressed. And they asked me, "Is like, is there a way that we can get a point of view from you to see how you do things and your mindset and blah blah blah?" And that opened the door for me considering to start streaming. And it was only going to be for the point of them seeing it. Fast forward a little bit more after they watched it, after the interaction. I remember speaking to people who were watching at the time, and it turned into such a really nice experience for not only me, but for other people as well. I mean, me primarily, but other people as well, that it became more of like an interest at that point. And then as we kept going more and more, it became more of a passion. I've always loved gaming. And then it turned into, this is something I could really do because, people like Eric or other people who watch me on a regular basis, they really support the dream. Yeah, that too. Yeah, Invader. Shout out to Invader. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who show love, and it became more of a possibility for me as a result of that connection I've made with people.
That's cool. How long have you been streaming then?
Officially about almost, I would say roughly about 2 years now.
Cool.
Yeah, full time 1 year.
I've been subscribed for 17 months.
Something like that, dude. You're a little bit behind the curve, but you caught up.
17. It's gonna be 18 on the 31st, right?
Oh, look at you keeping track, dude.
I know.
He's like, trust me, I see enough of you already. All right, let's go.
Well, fun fact, I don't know if you knew, Edgar and Lita, well, obviously you guys know that they weren't able to make it today. They had some kind of trip or whatever they planned out. But Edgar's cousin is an Invader. So
oh wow.
He, yeah. That's how we know him.
Small world, dude.
Yeah. And I know I linked you a couple of times on Facebook, and I think that's how I started watching you.
Really? Wow. Yeah,
supporting a brother.
Hey, I feel you, dude. I know we did a lot of things that were a lot and we could probably talk about this later on, but there's a lot of things that we, through those 2 years plus that we've been experimenting on and whatnot. And sometimes it gets a lot of traction and word spreads around a little bit more easily, and then sometimes it's a little bit more difficult. But I think I can at least say this for Eric himself, dude. Ever since I met you, man, you've been pretty cool. So thanks for always being about it.
Yeah, it's cool to see the way that you kind of evolved. I know you took a hit after quitting just World of Warcraft, but I saw you enjoy yourself playing a variety of games rather than just sticking to World of Warcraft. Like I just felt like you you had more fun. You were like it was more you were more interactive. Like the raids you guys were doing, you kind of were just a little bit more quiet here and there if you guys started wiping, and then
Oh, it gets annoying. I can, yeah.
yeah,
I'm sorry about that in advance, dude. Oof.
oh yeah,
I think, like, if I may, I think a part of that comes from a variety of things, right? There's a lot of reasons why I decided to take a step back from that and start exploring a little bit more. But ultimately, I think the biggest thing is like, what was my goal? Like in the end game, what did I really want to prioritize and make my focus? Like, what was the ultimate ambition when I pursued this more? And a part of it led me to just like kind of venturing out a little bit more, and that's why I ended up departing from WoW after a long period of time. But
yeah.
That's
I
cool.
I'll say I appreciate it for what it was.
Yeah, I haven't caught too many streams. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not like a big watcher of streams. It's very rare that I
That's
watch
fine.
streams. But I have caught a couple of your streams, and one thing that I do like that you do, well, I guess just as a person, not even maybe as a streamer, but you like to play until you win, and sometimes that really drags out. But you're so motivated, and you never get down. Like I'm like every time I've caught you, like you'll be on a losing streak, not always, but sometimes. But you're always still like, no, we're gonna get it, just a little more, just a little more. It's like, no, we got this. You're always so positive, and I like that a lot. Because a lot of streamers I see, they get really salty, like after like a few seconds of like bad gameplay from teammates or a misplay or something, and they just get so salty so quickly. And I just hate seeing that. It's just like, you don't need that negativity, man. Like, come on, But you're always positive, and you're always like, no, we got this. Like, don't give up yet, guys. Come on, just keep trying. We can still turn this around. If you do this, you try to help out your teammates too. Throw out some helpful advice and stuff like that. That's really cool.
Well, first off, thank you, but you must have not seen all my streams, dude. Oh my god!
I've caught a couple.
Seriously,
the ones that I've caught were like you playing Smite, because I know you play that.
Oh wow, okay.
You were going through some.
Yeah, those can get annoying real quick. Oof.
Yeah, but every time I've seen you, you try to stay positive though. Like it's I watching some of the plays like, and your team just like kind of throwing it away and giving up. Dude, I'd be pissed. But you're like, no, we're gonna try again. Like keep it together. I don't know.
I think that's more just like, yeah, despite being a content creator myself, to be honest with you, it's more so just a mindset that I've developed over time. I guess one person said this before, and there's many greats who probably have like different iterations of this, but if you try again, and even though you may fail, you're every single time you try again, it's always another chance of you actually getting the succession, right? But if you give up, you're guaranteeing your loss. And for me, I guess the mindset is like, I want to win. I'm competitive in my own nature, right?
Right.
But I think the goal is always to like, by constantly trying again, you have another chance to not only win, but for me personally, it's a form of improvement. Yeah. I've lived a life that's been full of negativity, even from my own personal subjective. So it's like that's my way of kind of bouncing back from that negativity and reinforcing that positivity in the world. Because there's people who are watching every single day, or every other day, or whenever they can, and they may have their own hardships. I mean, we all know what's going on in the world, and let alone their own little pocket, right? But at the end of the day, like if you're taking your time, which is very, very valuable, and you're coming to watch me play, the main thing I want to make sure is that you're having a good time. And believe me, I'm with you 100%. There's people who I could tune into their stream or tune into their content, and they're like super angry, super negative about it. Just straight contemplative. I can't even stand that for like 5 minutes. I'm gone. I can't do it. I can't do it. So I get exactly what you mean by that.
Yeah, there were streamers that I kind of used to watch before, where they were good players, but they reached the point where they're getting so salty, and even if it was just like you said, just for like a little bit, it's like I just couldn't stand it. It was like, why? Like I understand that you're a good player, but people have different, they're in different mindsets, or they're just maybe trying something different. Like you don't have to get that angry, and most of the time they're not even playing like a ranked game, so I just don't understand why they're so angry.
I think a part of it has to do with like goals, like what is the goal of this? Like I want to prove that I'm the best at this, and because I take this loss, it kind of puts a blemish on that. I can see people being very negative about that. Like, and I also think too is like frustrations and fatigue. Believe it or not, like I see people who are really good at a game, they love it when they're first starting, and then over time it slowly dies to them. And that part of that is because they're constantly doing it all the time. So I mean, it's definitely. It's there, and to be honest with you, when you're live streaming, I mean, you're going for hours on end, right?
Yeah.
So
how do
you can only hold that facade up for so long if it's not genuine.
Yeah, how do you deal with the like game fatigue? Do you not get that? Because I mean, you are playing Smite like once a week, right? You're doing like A through Z, I think.
Yes, I am actually at the moment. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering, like, how do you play a game continuously for like long hours, and then because I can play a game and I'll play it like for my mindset or for me, I'll play the hell out of a game for like 2-3 weeks, maybe a month, and then I'll be completely done with it and just stop playing it completely. But as a streamer, if a game is popular, do you continue to play it even if you're not enjoying it as much, or how do you deal with that?
Oh, that's actually a really good question. Two things. One is, like I said, the goals to still play in mind. Like if I am trying to focus on something for popularity purposes, then time and time again, unfortunately for me, I'm not really good at hiding my feelings when it comes to like my perspective on things. So people kind of know whenever I'm not liking. How do I deal with it? I guess as the next part though. For me, I've kind of made more of a conscious effort because, I mean, you heard what happened before, like where I played World of Warcraft primarily, and then I eventually separated myself from playing that game and decided to jump into other games. And I guess the word variety becomes a little bit more popular right now for what you can kind of define what I'm doing.
Right.
And I think it's a good mixture of that. I and I think I can speak for a lot of people who are creators that are in the same pocket or the same realm that I'm in. They are very conscious, or at least let me speak for myself. I'm very conscious of how reciprocated a game is for people who are watching. Some people may not like it. Some people will like it. A good example is Among Us is a really, really popular game right now, right? And people are playing it literally because of the fact that it's popular. And then there's also a pocket of people who are playing it specifically because they just enjoy it. It's a balance. It's all about balance. Like one thing, understanding your audience and getting not only yourself but them comfortable with, like, hey, we're going to be mixing it up a little bit. We got to break up the monotony, and getting them kind of comfortable with that and making that the norm has been somewhat successful for me. It's not always successful depending on the game, but for the most part, I think anybody that comes to my stream is like, you know what, even if he's playing a new game, I sometimes can see him making it very enjoyable for me to watch. And then the same thing on the other side too. This is just boring, bro. I'm good. It happens, but ultimately it's a choice you make. You have to answer the question is like, what do you really want? Do you want the numbers? Do you want the viewership, or do you want to actually enjoy yourself? And if you're not enjoying a game, then, you have to make that decision. Are you doing it for some other reason? Is that reason justifiable? And if it is, then, you keep pushing on, you keep hustling. If not, then you need to observe and examine the opportunity to make a change. And that's on a per person basis. But for me, I try to balance it out between, like, a lot of my audience currently are really, really in love with the game called Final Fantasy 14. It's in a content drought right now because of the fact that there's not a lot of stuff going on. COVID has been giving us a little bit of an issue with, the frequency of updates and what, right. We all had to kind of balance around it, right? So as a result of that, during that downtime, I've kind of seized the opportunity for myself to, hey, let's try this new game out, or hey, so-and-so gifted this to me, let's try this one out. And, sometimes it works.
Well, do you feel like you're worried that maybe you'll fall into another like World of Warcraft pitfall thing where you're maybe streaming too much, like maybe with Final Fantasy? Are you worried that if you don't continue to stream that, you're going to lose some of your viewership or something like that?
Actually, yes. Believe it or not. Even right now, like, because of the drought in content and like my ability, I'm not trying to brag here, but I'm really good when it comes to being very competitive, aggressively in that game. Like I can put really good numbers up. I can handle mechanics. I learn really, really fast, right? So my ability to clear that content is a lot faster, right, than your average person. And as a result of that, I'm once I beat it, I'm kind of like, well, there's nothing else left to do. And somebody may like, yo, do this raid again, or and it's unfortunate because, like, you kind of been there, done that. As for it affecting like whether or not I'm like looking for numbers or viewers or anything like that, like viewership being a very big focus for people who do Twitch streaming or streaming in general, it's always on the mind. I think that's the one thing I can acknowledge. It's always on the mind. It's like, is this making this decision? Is it going? How is it going to impact? And then doing an assessment based on. It may get a little bit more detailed, but at the end of the day, I think it's definitely important. And I've kind of gone more in the line of I got to do what's good for me. I'm in this for the long haul. I'm doing it full time now, so it's like it's a big goal for me to kind of nurture and grow it. But I don't want to lose it either. In the sense of I get tired of doing it because I've only stuck to a game.
Yeah.
And that sometimes could impact your experience overall negatively. You know, that positive S0ulSaint you saw maybe a little bit more negative because he's playing a game he doesn't want.
Right.
My decision though ultimately is and this is the saying I kind of, and this probably may answer a lot of questions, but I've learned, or I'm learning, to spend more time about work, or observing, thinking, and making efforts towards the things I can control. But the things I cannot control, I should not stress out about as much. People are going to want to watch you for whatever they want, but at the end of the day, it's their choice, not yours.
Yeah, that's true. Do you ever worry about like, because I know like there's like, big YouTubers or people that have done it for so long that you're just going to burn out on video games?
Oh, that's one of my biggest fears. Honestly, I grew up, not to get mopey here, but I grew up where games was kind of like a safe haven for me, Not being the most popular kid, not being the most handsome of this at the time. I think I'm sexy now.
Out here, so.
Okay, cool. Cool. Well, I made it out, boys. We're doing all right, okay? But no, like, I mean...
one of us made it, we all made it, okay?
Hell yeah, dude, let's go. But like, I come from a place in a time where, not the richest, even to this day, I wish I could do more for the family that has supported me and taken care of me, and even after that, they're like not having like the biggest circle or crowd of friends and whatnot. Gaming was something I can lean on to. So my relationship with gaming is one of very like really, really like, I mean this when I say this, I love gaming because of what it's done for me. The relationships I have built because of gaming, like it's like the tether that brought me together with so many people, including people we're talking to right now, as a matter of fact.
Awesome.
So it's one of those things that like by gaming all the time, I am very concerned because I don't want to lose that love for gaming because of, what it's gotten me through, what it's helped me with, what it's grown for me, all these different things that I was able to do through gaming. I never want to lose that. So I think I'm very aware of that, that encroachment. It can be possible. I guess what I do is I try to balance, try to find balance, taking those breaks when it's necessary. Some people are like, you got to be live every single day, or you got to be putting out content every single day, every single minute, every hour. Your life is content. That can get dangerous. That can get very dangerous, but it's good in moderation. I think too much of anything can be a problem, but it's always good to like, be very moderate with it, I guess. I don't know.
How often do you stream, and like for how many hours usually?
So my set schedule right now currently is Monday through Friday, at one set point in time, right now it's 2 p.m. Mountain Time, which would be like 3 Central, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, depending where you're at in the US. And that's always the start time. I don't always make it. Like I'm human, so sometimes I may need to delay stream by an hour because I woke up late or something IRL happened. Those circumstances do come, but I typically try to make sure I'm on every single day, Monday through Friday. We go for roughly, at a minimum, since I'm now full-time, I try to put at least an effort of around 6 hours plus is my minimum goal for me personally. I'm the one who set the goal. I'm the boss, but I feel like it's a good time for people to be able to experience something that I'm introducing to them, or for me to really expose an idea that I've been nurturing for a while.
That's really cool. Yeah. And so when now that you've gone full-time with this, do you treat it like as more of a job, or is it still sort of a hobby, or what is your mindset with it now?
I look at it, this may seem, it's more leaning towards the job side, but I look at it as a business, believe it or not. Okay. I think that's the most important way to look at it, is like, you're creating a brand for yourself. You're doing all these different things that are going to make you stand different from Joe Schmo who may be doing a hobby. I'm very passionate about it, so like my perspective is a little bit more aggressive on like, I'm optimizing every single thing. I'm trying to, balance cost, like I'm literally into everything. Like you can technically say, as a full-time content creator, you're a digital marketer. You're, what is it? Audio visual producer or manager. You're like whatever they have all those different titles to. You're doing a little bit of everything. Awesome. So it's very business oriented in the sense of me behind the scenes. Now, in front of the scenes, I'm a personality. So I guess that's the best way to say it.
Mm-hmm. And what made you pick like live streaming over like YouTube or video making?
I think that's actually a misconception. I'm actually both. That's why I try not to consider myself a streamer. I'm more of a content creator.
Okay. I haven't,
because I think you can't live without one without the other. I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah,
so your YouTube is the same thing, S0ulSaint?
Absolutely.
But you don't make...
We're growing too. We're doing pretty good there.
Do you make content specifically for YouTube, or is it just like tidbits of your stream and stuff like that, like highlights?
Great question. A lot of it, when I first started off with YouTube, and this is all a learning process, and even then, I'm still constantly evolving what you consider content on YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it started off with like kind of like highlight style type stuff, and then some of it was just a VOD copy of like what we did live. I kind of basically copy and pasted it over to YouTube, and now it's kind of actually evolved a little bit more than that. So like what you see live with me is actually manipulated slowly but surely, and you can watch like previous videos to more modern videos and you'll see a little bit more growth or evolution of it, where now my content is on that's done live is done with the mindset that it'll be easily manipulated to be put on YouTube as a really good YouTube product.
That's cool.
Case in point, it's not like popping full of like these different like emblems and goals and this you know, there's a lot of stuff there that was there before, which is less apparent now. And that's because it allows me to take that footage, make some changes to it. Like, it's not just a copy and paste anymore. Now I'm actually editing. I'm doing, you know, vigorous different things to kind of make it look different than what it was live, and also cut out the boring pieces. Make, you know, basically it's being filtered so to a point where now it stands on its own legs when it comes to YouTube.
Wow,
so it's different. It's a little different.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. Do you do that with every video, or do you just pick one from the week, or how does that work to post on YouTube?
Originally it started off as an idea. And this kind of goes a little bit more behind the science analytics of what streaming is and all that stuff. Original intention was just to get content out there because YouTube has a better growth algorithm, for the lack of better words. If you're looking to get your feet going or, you know, get a foundation started, YouTube has a really good exposure is what we call it. It helps us with increased exposure organically versus Twitch with, you know, almost millions and millions of people. I don't know the specifics now, but millions of people are streaming almost every hour of the day. So it's like you're fighting against other people. And don't get me wrong, YouTube is just as big, but they come down, their system's a lot more, their search engine, everything that they have in the background kind of makes it a little bit more effective for you to put your, you know, your face in front of people. Whereas Twitch is like, if you don't have the view count already, you're kind of fighting an uphill battle. Right. So that's kind of what led me on the path of putting out YouTube content specifically. As for my selection, it's based on two factors right now because I haven't done a YouTube exclusive video yet. So it's based on the initial reaction that people who currently watch do. So we do get information from Twitch and through our analytics and whatnot. So we kind of observe whether or not something has gotten a lot of like, hey, there's people watching this because they actually are enjoying it. And that might be more incentive for me putting it out somewhere else, such as like YouTube and Twitter, Instagram, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. So when do you find time to like cut down and like look through the videos and essentially do your editing? Because you made it seem like it was just, you know, one or whatever time you stream and then 6 hours and then you do your, you know, you live your life, but that's not true. You do a lot of stuff outside of streaming.
As a full-time creator, 100%. I have to, well, I wouldn't say I have to. I've made the choice to, really be aggressive with it. Like I said, it's a passion of mine. So to be honest with you, I do more offline than I do, online. So like those 6 to 8 hours plus of me streaming is just what you see live. But in reality, I'm spending the time that I'm not streaming, eating, editing, sleeping, rinse, repeat. I mean, shower there too, you know, all the stuff too. But basically, it becomes a focus. My weekends, literally my last weekend, I pumped out almost 10 videos. But I spent literally all of Saturday and almost all of Sunday pushing at it. So no time off almost. It's definitely
that's rough.
You know.
I tried to get him for D&D on Sunday and he was too busy editing.
Saturday.
Kind of, to be honest with you. But yeah,
Saturday.
he was right. He messaged me, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I was busy working on a video.
Yeah. That's rough, man. That seems like you don't have too much you time.
So the only balance right now is like it's literally me kind of running the shop right now. I did have some people here and there help out at one point or another. For lack of better words, commission to kind of help with some of the editing. And you can go to like my Twitter and you'll see like, you know, when I say, hey, this video went live, shout out to so and so who helped out with the editing of this, or you know, something like that. There has been other people who've helped out in the background.
That's cool.
It's kind of tough though at the same time because like there is a bit of, you know, consistency issues that I noticed where like, you know, you want things to get done like on a schedule. You want like, hey, I want a video a week at least at a minimum, you know, which is me, honestly.
Right.
But then these guys that then it's not their primary focus, it's not their main job or whatever. So it's kind of like one of those things where they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart, and I appreciate them. But at the end of the day, they also have their lives they have to live. They can't live and breathe my content.
Right.
So a lot of that becomes my responsibility to kind of focus and put up or shut up. And it doesn't always happen. There's like, for me, when I have the weekends off when I'm not streaming, there's sometimes where I don't do anything, and that could be my personal time, for lack of better words. I watch a show or two. I like anime, so that's me. I do that, but it's a sacrifice. Basically, what you're saying, it is tough. It is a sacrifice, but where I want to be at and where I'm at right now, I feel like it's going to require more effort for me. So it's kind of like one of those things that I'm making the choice to sacrifice now so I can enjoy it later.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like you're enjoying it anyway, right? I mean, you seem like you said you're motivated, so yeah, I mean, you have to enjoy it to some extent in order to continue doing it.
Absolutely, well, unless you hate yourself, then that's weird. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's
so.
cool.
I know you got like some exclusive keys and stuff on certain things from streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you how did you do that? How did you acquire those? Is it reaching out to people, developers, or?
Interesting question. It's actually a combination of various different elements. So when you're first starting out, I'm by no stretch or means. Let me preface this now. I'm no by stretch or means a big time or big size content creator, streamer, whatever you want to call it, right? I'm on the growing stages. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm still an up and comer. A lot of the sponsorships, for lack of better words, like I'll give one as an example. I was sponsored by Fall Guys. Fall Guys is a game that came out within the last couple months, and they had an early beta access. So, this, believe it or not, and this is just one example of various different avenues. My community has a diverse, eclectic tasted community. There's various different people in there. They all have their own uniqueness, right? And one of them introduced me. He was like my middleman, for lack of better words, that introduced me to being able to get into the alpha of Fall Guys, the one that was under a NDA. So I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't say anything outside of the fact that I was in the alpha, but I couldn't talk about the details or nothing. So I was able to get into that by a friend of a friend, for lack of better, right?
Wow.
Now, fast forward when it got to the beta access period, because I was an alpha tester, I was also invited to be a participant in the beta, which means I got invited to their Discord, where they were orchestrating a lot of things, not only marketing for like content creators, but just for the general populace, right? People wanting to get into the game and whatnot. And as a result of that, that led me to being able to talk to some of the developers / members who worked for it, so community managers, et cetera, and that opened the door for me to be able to get more access to those type of items, such as game giveaway codes. So those are two different ways, and then additionally, one last one, and then this will be my only one for now. I reach out myself. There's people who are able to give away codes and whatnot, and then sometimes you hit them up, and I think it was Pokimane who said herself, she's like, some of her most enjoyable sponsorships has been through her making the effort of reaching out. And mind you, I don't have the clout / visibility that she does, as an example, but it's a really accurate standpoint, because I reached out to people and I was like, hey, I'm going to be doing this game. I love this game, blah, blah. This is why I think I deserve this. And this is what I can contribute to, your overall exposure of the game so that you can have more success. I think our partnership or involvement together and supporting each other would be a, prosperous endeavor, business oriented almost. And, you can fluff it up and make it sound however you want. But at the end of the day, it's the effort of like both them reaching out to me as well as me reaching out.
Yeah, it's a business proposal, essentially.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
Well, yeah. And
I mean, I don't always get yes, but you try.
Yeah, of course.
Oh man,
closed mouths don't get fed is basically the words on that one.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, at what point did you start deciding, to reach out to companies and stuff like that, or when did someone start approaching you to kind of start doing that, like with the giveaways or with sponsors and stuff like that?
So I haven't had many. I'm gonna be honest with you. So like I said, up and comer myself, but
Yeah, but I mean, you're
The
still.
the first one, I'll use the Fall Guys as a good example. Fall Guys was a member of my community knew a guy that worked for one of the developers, and he said he can give me access to it. It was just a matter of like, hey, let's play together, you know.
That's awesome.
And then after that, going into the beta of that was just I saw an opportunity because I know that beta was going to be a closed beta, and I was like, this is a good opportunity for me to seize the visibility endeavor. You know, hey, maybe I can get a couple more people watching. Maybe it'll be, you know, from there, it's a matter of just me being entertaining, and then hopefully we can retain them and all that. So it was like it was a multi-step process of me kind of like seeing the potential in the game, and then putting a effort and wanting to pursue it more for the intent and purposes of either more exposure or because I enjoyed the game and collaborative efforts, et cetera, et cetera.
That's cool.
Yeah, I feel like Soul has a very strong base of constant viewers because whenever I'm watching them, you know, there's always like Eli, Rose, and Just Two and stuff. Like they're always watching you and supporting you. I think that really does help out. It also shows, you know, your character that you have, you know, people that can constantly view or hang out with you without
Nice.
getting worried. So.
You speak too kindly of me. I think it's just a matter of
what I say on stream, though.
Oh, I appreciate that. Well, I'm on the other side, so you know I have to watch the VOD. I think a part of it has to do with the fact that, like, at the end of the day, and this is the most important thing I think that people kind of skip over sometimes, and that's why they don't see the success that they should. Is that, like, you know, you can be worried about the numbers, you can be worried about this, you know, opportunity there and this and the other, but at the end of the day, if your content, what you produce as an individual, isn't up to par, the eyes won't get there. You know. Now, mind you, it's a combination. Like, you could be the best person in the world, you know, actually super entertaining, and you don't get no eyes on you. And now part of that is because of the fact that you're not making the effort to get your name out there. I know this may sound funny, but, like, you know, sometimes you got to be a little shameless. Like, hey, come watch me, you know, talking to so-and-so. This could be random Joe Schmo, you know, in a game lobby that you're in. You're like, hey, man, you know, I did really, really good. And, you know, me and you vibed really well. Maybe come check out my stream, you know, like stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, that's going to be annoying. You're going to have people who are going to say some derogative stuff towards you, which is unfortunate. It's them gamer words. You're going to have people who are going to be like, no, thanks. And it's a blow to the gut. But then you may have that one person that comes through and is like, hey, I was in that game with you. I enjoyed that. That was really good. Good stuff. And then, you know, next thing you know, he's watching you longer and he really enjoys it. And then the next day he's watching you again. And then out of nowhere, it's like, oh yeah, what's up? Welcome back, homie. It's good to see you again. And it can start off like that.
Yeah.
Don't be too aggressive with it. Like, you know, like, hey, watch me. And, you know,
right.
You know when you're deserving of it or
right.
not, but it's a balance. It's a balance. It's marketing.
It's every time he kills people on Dead by Daylight. After, it's like, if you enjoyed me killing you, come and watch.
And then when I don't kill nobody, I just leave.
Yeah. Leaves the lobby. Like, yeah, I'm gonna say it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, it seems like you're like a very social person. Have you always been a very social person, or?
Believe it or not, it took effort. I was actually I guess quote me if I'm wrong, or correct me if I'm wrong. You considered me, from what you've seen, and maybe Eric, you can kind of jump into this too as well. From what you've seen, super charismatic, super positive, and very socializing, right?
Yes.
I actually, prior to being a streamer or content creator in general, my approach was always pessimistically optimist. And what I mean is, I'm always looking for the worst first, and I'll be happily surprised if I get something that positive happens. And living that way, you're kind of skeptical of people, so you're kind of like antisocial a little bit, you know, kind of a introvert, for lack of better words. And that took effort, and it took a really close examination of answering. And this is the question that I answered myself when I was like, you know, if I'm going to do this, who do I want to be when I show these guys this? And the person was, I don't want to be that negative guy that, you know, brings more sadness into the world. I want to be the person that, if I can bring one smile to one person a day, then I win. And that's what I live by since.
That's tough to do. That seems I mean, I think that for me, like, when I did try streaming several years ago, I mean, I didn't give it much I didn't put much into it. I was just kind of like a thing that I wanted to try. But for me, the hardest part was actually talking to people, and also part like playing the game and then, you know, reading the chat, because I know I'd have people come in and then they type something, but I'd be so focused on the game because I'm just not used to that interaction, right? So they type something and then I'd reply, but they'd be gone already because, you know, some people are just like, well, this guy's new, so if he doesn't respond right away, I'm just gonna leave or something like that.
Mhm.
So I just never understood how you like split your attention and and still be good at the game, because you do well and you're like constantly talking to the chat. So how do you work on that? Just like splitting your
Oh
attention.
man. First off, thank you for the compliment on being a good gamer. Feels good, man. The second part is well, it's a combination of practice. There's various different methods you can use, and this may be for anybody who may be looking to test their waters or test the waters with trying it out. It's an effort, first and foremost. You're gonna have to figure out, and even I fail this sometimes. There's sometimes I get too absorbed in the game and I'm not talking at all, and I realize it. What I started off by doing is, because when you're first starting off, nobody knows you. So what I've made a conscious effort is to continuously talk. I know that may sound obnoxious, but to create a narrative in the sense that even if nobody is there, or this is the way the people viewed it, and I think this is a very common phrase, but it's so underestimated, is that like, talk even when nobody's there. Have a conversation even if it's just you. And there's various different methods you can do it. You can either try doing a story time, like where you're just telling talking about an event that you had, like, hey, I've got my legs waxed before, which I can finally say now, and you just go on a tangent about like, oh man, that experience sucked, and you can be in the middle of gaming and you can still do your thing. Additionally, a part of it could be where, and this is something I've done before in the past, and these are two other ones that I would give as an option for people who are looking to kind of be able to create it, like incentivizing the conversation, right? Ask questions. I wonder what happened to this. What do you guys think about this? And you could be talking to the darkness. Who knows, right?
Right.
But that one question that you ask, even if it makes you look like an idiot, or it can make you really make someone think, could just be the catalyst to create that dialogue. And next thing you know, it'll be able to pull your attention to like, hey, this person's talking, let's go. And then you start interacting with them a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think you do very well with that, because I pop in, like sometimes I'm at work and I see your notification on Discord, like, hey, Soul started streaming. I pop in and I'm like, hey, what's going on in here, and say, what's up, Max? And you say, right away you'll be like, how's your day going, or whatever. But you start the conversation, and you do that not just with me, but you do that with everybody that jumps into your channel or says something. You try to make the interaction. You try to ask them how their day's going or something like that, and you spark the conversation, which is
you hit the nail on the hammer on the nail there. You said one key word, which is interaction. As a broadcaster, this is the broadcast, the live streaming side of being a content creator. People, if you're just going to play a game, they can do that on their own, or they can do that with someone else. So why watch you? My question, I guess my stance on this is that people who interact with streams are there for the interaction, that socialization aspect behind it. I guess the difference between YouTube and Twitch, if we're going to use these as an example, YouTube, if you're just doing a video upload, right? That's a one-directional content aspect. And the reason why I say is like, you upload a video, that's your content, you're pushing it forward. It goes down the lane to the person that watches it. And outside of that, there's no way for them to interact or manipulate or get involved with whatever you're doing there, because it's already been done, right? Whereas when you're live streaming, this is all happening on the mark here. As we're doing it, it's being shown. So like, and this may go into some more of the creative side of things, but I try to put up stuff that allows people to not only see it, but to respond to it, which makes it a two-directional content creation aspect, right? Where I'm doing something because I want to see your reaction to it, and then when you give me your reaction, I bounce back off of it, and then now it's me and you interacting with each other. Or, I give you tools that while I'm in the middle of doing something, you can, get involved with it. Case in point, I have something that allows people to utilize points, or if they're generous enough and they want to, like, use bits to, cause alerts to go off while I'm in the middle of a game. And we've been on a scary game binge recently. So, like, having a sound that's, like, super scary out of nowhere at the right time could be the catalyst to create a moment that's memorable for people.
And so is that the same thing that happened that ended up with you shaving your legs?
So this like, I have to be careful with how, oh my god, dude. This is how I created that. So at the end of the day, doing this full time, S0ulSaint has to eat, more chunk. So I do have to keep in mind that, and anybody that says this, if they're going to pursue, content creation for full-time aspect, they have to be able to feed themselves, their family, whatever their obligations are, right? So there's an aspect behind it that I do have to keep in mind, like, hey, I do need to be able to sustain this way of living, and that creates the opportunity for me to be creative and like, okay, what would incentivize the individual that's watching this to wanting to be generous in that aspect, right? And that it's a reality. It's a reality. But a part of it for this one, if you're talking about the leg specifically, my community is generous enough and they're very loving enough, and I really do appreciate them, including Supa. But they're really generous to a point where the support has already been there. I'm gonna be honest with you. Hitting those sub goals, it's already been done, and it's been done on a consistent basis. So I can kind of consider that the average of the norm. My reason behind doing this is that, and this is a personal and subjective review of myself. For some reason, I feel like and this is something I'm growing on. My earlier or the mid portion of the year, like May and June, I feel like are some of my lackluster months, something that I need to improve on, right? But to bounce back from that, I was like, all right, if my May and my June months sucked, I want to make sure that I stop that in the tracks, right? I don't want it to be, July, August, and September also being bad too as well. So that's like, I'm already going to get this. Let me create things that are ways that will make memories with people now. Let's do this so that people can also have something that will entertain them too as well. At the end of the day, like being a creator in some aspect, you have to be providing some form of benefit to the person watching, whether that's entertainment, whether that's knowledge, how-tos and things of that sort, I think are very important. We watch and we do things for a reason, believe it or not. So I think that kind of contributes to the overall scope of things. For me, in the leg thing, I knew that getting, so for lack of better words, the 100, it was a 100 sub goal. I knew it was going to happen regardless. It's just now that people saw the goal and they're like, this is something I haven't seen before, or I haven't seen Soul do before. Let's get involved with it. And then today, we did it, and it created memories. And I think that's the important. It created content, for lack of a better word.
Dude, I was crying.
I cried. I cried, but people laughed, and it's worth it. At the end of the day.
You're crying because you're licking the ups.
I know. Earlier today, Eric actually messaged me. He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna like have S0ulSaint on, stuff like that, and yeah, but he's gonna have his legs shaved today." Like, he was excited. He was telling me about it, and I was just like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but all right.
And that's what I want right there. Is I want people to. I mean, it's a multifaceted way. It's like, for me, you're already giving this to me. Let me find another way to reward you, because I don't want you to like. And this is a personal perspective. I want people to know, and I try to make a very conscious effort in doing this. Is I want people to know that if they do, out of the kindness of their hearts, support me in that endeavor, and there's multiple ways to do it. We like support someone without actually giving them money.
Right.
But the fact that people do give me, whatever that is in the form of subs or bits or whatever other form of monetization you can give, right? I want people to know that I'm grateful for that. We live in tough times, even without COVID. People sometimes have to struggle. We have to hustle. I mean, like I said, I grew up poor, so I know what it's like. So like that $1 you spent on me, that 10 cents, whatever it was, right? I'm grateful. And this was like a nice little way to kind of pay it back. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna give you guys something I know is gonna make you all laugh. And we went through with it, and it was a blast.
He almost didn't go through his,
Oh, dude, I got scared towards the beginning of it, dude. I was like, man, I'm not ready for this. And thankfully, my roommate was the one that was doing the pulling on the strips. So he big brained me. He was like, dude, we're gonna put all four. You're gonna do 4. Okay, we're gonna do all 4 of the strips on you, and then we'll pull one off, and then you can't back out because you still have to get those things off. And I was like, shoot. And then sure enough, each rip, dude, I felt the pain, and it was an experience. It was an experience for me, but it was enjoyable for everybody. And I am now patchy. Feels bad.
You should have just done the whole thing, dude. I told you, just do the whole thing.
No, I take pride in my patch, dude. Let's go.
Dude, that lasts like 3 months, right?
From what I heard, it's 8 weeks, so at least 2 months. Yeah.
It's yeah, because I dropped the bet and I had to do my face.
Oh no, I couldn't imagine anywhere from the I didn't want to do the waist or my thighs because I knew how much it was gonna hurt. So I can only imagine.
I had to do my face, man, and you know how your stuff was bleeding. Just imagine a bloody face, because I had blood all over my face.
I thought I was bleeding, but it was just the skin being like super red, because it's like it's been aggravated from the fact that you did the pull. I thankfully did not bleed. I'm good. I'm good.
I bled from the face, and I had to do the whole thing because you can't. I mean, it's my face, and I was in high school.
You gotta continue. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, I did a patch, might as well do the whole thing, dude. And yeah, that thing lasted like. That was the cool part, though. It was like 2 months of no shaving, not having to worry about my facial hair.
Oh, that sounds so good, dude. I'm too hairy.
Well, there you go, man. Just wax your face.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'll suffer for the shave. That's okay.
Dude, that was rough. It hurt. So I don't know. I don't know which one would hurt more, but I know like the legs probably hurt too because I've been someone's pulled hairs off my freaking feet or my legs, and it hurts too. So I don't know.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. I pulled off a bandage and I was dying. I can't imagine waxing a whole patch of anything.
I'm gonna put the pictures up for you guys to see it, but yeah, it's like a block, like a rectangle in the middle of your leg. Like I got hairy legs, right? So imagine like just one little section, which is like a block where it's bald.
Wow.
It's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough, but it is worth it, man. I enjoyed myself. It was an experience too. It's my first time getting waxed. So I could put this in the the bucket list of things I've done so far. So
yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of clips of that on Twitch.
Oh, they clipped them. There's a lot of clips.
Yeah. I think I look at some of my channels in my Discord. And I think right off the rip, I see at least like 2+, and there's more. I'm sure of it.
Man.
Dude, it was funny. I don't know. I had a great time. I was playing Warzone with T-Virus at the time, and I couldn't stop laughing, dude. And he didn't even have the sound on because we were playing, but we had your stream on the side.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have your sound on, and he was cracking up. He's like, dude, his face, like, what is he saying? I was like, he's crying, man.
But see, you hear that? That right there is what to me, and it kind of goes a little bit past that. Like, if I'm gonna be honest with you, if money wasn't a problem, dude, I'd be able to do so much more and be more involved, right? And to be honest with you, my primary focus is if you can put aside the whole thing about like monetization, or you can put aside about like these numbers and all that. Just having fun with it alone is important. You got to really enjoy what you do. Like you said earlier, like it's you can't be in something like this, for example, and do it on a continuous basis if you really didn't enjoy it. And hearing like Eric and other people really get a laugh or get a chuckle out of it it's like that's what fulfills me there. That's my fulfillment. I'm really happy with hearing that.
Yeah, that's I told I don't know if I told Oscar, but that's the reason why I started, because I don't really watch people unless it's like the only people I watch, honestly, it's you, Ism when you're not on, or Cal. Those are the only people I watch on Twitch. And I started with Cal, and then I saw Ism and you there, and I started checking out Ism, and then I stuck with you because just like Oscar said, you keep a very positive vibes going all the time, and it's refreshing. Even though like I don't enjoy every game that you play, but it's funny. It's funny watching you play a lot of these games, and it's like enjoyable. There's constant positive vibes. You're not putting people down. You're not. That's what's cool. Because right now, man, like if you play half the games you play right now, like Warzone or Dota 2 or freaking League, like everyone is so negative, man. Like if you suck at the game or you're a first time player, like I feel bad for people that start playing these games because
sometimes the community can be very aggressive because of they're not very welcoming, I guess would be the word.
Yeah, and your community is also real cool because like I said, I usually lurk, I guess is what you call it. And I just like listening or watching people chat. It's just like they're just chilling. They're just having fun.
Yeah.
Your moderators really keep it like peaceful. Like like let's not talk that way or whatever when people do get out of hand, which is cool.
Yeah, a part of that is like, and this is I personally think. To some degree, right? I can't speak for whenever like someone has like a very big surge of like exposure or notoriety, whatever you want to call it, right? Where they have like a sudden burst of like growth. But like in an earlier stages where you have people who are like I should say like your core audience, they are a reflection of yourself. the broadcaster at the time. And I think that that's important because, I've had conversations with those people and I appreciate it. I call them the lieutenants, right? Because a lot of my stuff is thematically based off of like night, I call them the Ascended Knights. So, and there's reasons behind it and all that stuff, right? But a lot of that has to do with like the mindset that I want to instill. You can be positive, you can troll. Sometimes you can, joke about each other, have that one jib here or there. But at the end of the day, we need respect by each other. Like it's like, we can have fun and all that, but there's no need to go down too dark an alley to a point where it's just straight up disrespectful. And, when I have my conversation with the people who are moderators for my channels, they are aware that like, hey, this is the perspective I want to have. If this person is doing this, we nip that in the bud as soon as possible. If this right here isn't, depending on the person, like we have those conversations constantly to try to invoke a positive atmosphere for people. Yeah, have fun. Sometimes you can say, Soul, you suck at this game, or XD, you die, and all that. And I'm fine with that, because then I come back and you, like you said, epic gamer here, come in and I get that win and I prove everybody like, yo, I'm good. You know what I mean? I know what I'm doing. Yeah. But it's a matter of just like having that conversation, and even going further than that, like there's people where I took the reins, like someone was acting out of order and I was like, you know what, I'm going to time you out. I don't appreciate this. This is my house. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I want it to be maintained. To take this moment to kind of reflect upon it. If you feel like, it was just a joke, or, even though it was a little too far, you can come back after that timeout and like, we can have that conversation. Right. And, it has happened where like, there's some people who watch me on a regular basis, even to this day, they have their moment where like, oh yeah, that's my bad, and then there's other times where that person is like, screw you, I'm going to be like that no matter what, because it's, I do what I want.
Yeah.
And we escort them out permanently, for lack of better words.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask about how you deal with, with situations like that where people are getting kind of rowdy, and you just explained it, so that's perfect.
I would like to go a little bit more in detail if you don't mind, because I think this is an experimentation. Yeah. All right, so like the first one is like, just being straight up adult with them, like, hey, don't do that. That's not cool. I think that's an approach that I think a lot of people can do. Mm-hmm. I'm also faced with the reality, and this is a part of like, being observant of where I'm at, where I want to be, right? I want to grow more and more. Mm-hmm. And constantly just like ban hammering anybody could lose the possibility of like retention.
Right.
So sometimes, a contrast to like, just a straight no, stop that. And this is for like cases where it's a little bit more on the gray line, not just straight black in the sense of like being bad or like saying things that are super negative. Right. There's some parts where you like, this he's trolling around. It's a little bit much. Right. Mm-hmm. What I'm trying to do more and more is like, let's create a way to joke around with them, but steer them away in a direction where, I don't want to say it's manipulative, but like, sometimes you could take a conversation you're having with someone, this interaction you're having with someone, and then shift it in a different dynamic, like changing the perspective of it. Instead of them being like super trolly, next thing you know, now they're just joking around with you because it's like, okay, now it's fun. And that's a conscious effort that I'm also making too as well. And the byproduct of that can be sometimes, hey, now we have another person who's a part of the community who kind of understands now what we're about, and they handle themselves a little bit more, within line, and they're able to still be a part of the experience instead of just straight denying them.
Right.
It's a toss up. It depends on the severity, but it's a balance.
I troll Solo all the time, but I know the stuff that I say makes him try harder, and you can tell he puts his little big boy pants on and starts, doing better.
That's true. Like, I'll use an example. So I have this thing where people can challenge me in 1v1s, and we go over the criteria as to like, okay, what is the rules here? How we're going to do this? What's the game that we're playing based off of it? And we kind of compete with each other. I even kind of incentivize, like, loser has to pay, 5 subs, just as an example, right? Mm-hmm. And Super challenged me on multiple occasions. And one time he whooped me, the other time we even out. And like, the whole part about it is that like, and when he says he's trolls, like he talks a lot of smack to me about not World of Warcraft, but like Warzone. And like he's better, and then it created like he's like, you know what, you're not gonna come close, and even other people was like, oh, this is in the bag for Supa, and I was like, okay, say less, and then that's when the focus comes in. We start pumping it, and that like interaction. Now me and Supa like talking, smack to each other, and it turns into content, but then it also turns into something positive because we're having fun with each other now. On top of being competitive, we're being fun with it, and it turns into a good experience. So like It's a balance. It's like knowing when to joke and when not to joke, and how far to take it.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that's the hardest part for some people, is learning that line.
You know what? Not a lot of people learn how to basically social etiquette, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
And a part of that has to do with I don't know. There's various different elements to it, nature, nurture, all that good stuff. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's when it comes to my channel, I mean, that I have like a way that I want it to be handled. So I kind of make that on the forefront for someone who may be new.
People, honestly, being that we do game a lot, and we don't. I mean, I'm very social online and offline, anyways. But there's some people that are
Mhm.
not very social outside of their computer. So a lot of people don't see, certain ways that people take how they talk.
They don't
So like
understand
that.
social cues. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe sometimes it's not that they're trying to be mean or they're trying to troll, whatever. They just don't get they're doing something wrong because they lack the interaction outside of their online interactions, because you could tell, like, there's physical or visual cues when you're talking to someone socially and you're messing around with them. You could tell facial expressions or the way that they
Body language.
body language, where you may have hurt them or gone a little too far. It's like, oh crap, and then you can pull back or do that. But people that don't have that interactions, or those interactions, probably be a little bit different for them.
Oh, and it's even worse to add an element when it comes to broadcasting. It's basically me. You can see me visually, so that's going to be very easy.
Mhm.
But like, what about me to you though? I see you type words in a chat room, right?
Mhm.
It's hard to interpret tone and demeanor when it comes to how that sentence may come out, because if you say it in one way, it may be super comedic and super just like, hey, I'm just trolling around, we're having a good time,
Right.
or it could come off as like, yo, this guy's a butthole, dude, like why let me who are you so it can go both ways, and it takes a lot of and anybody that's listening right now, dude, if you're ever in a streamer chat, including mine, one of the best ways to do this is to get to know the person, develop that relationship over time so that they're used to knowing, okay, I know how he is. I know he's not a person that's going to be just straight up rude. Now we can joke around with each other. So I think that it's like you work your way into it. There's some people who balance really well with, like, you being snippy right off the rip or whatever the case may be, but that's on a per person basis.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys though. I got a question for you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now you said that, a lot of it maybe come from the lack of external social interactions and whatnot. When a person comes into your broadcast room, is it you as the broadcaster's responsibility to nurture that so that they develop that social awareness, or do you just straight up ban them?
No, I think it's up to you, because I mean, different broadcasters have different rules. So going from room to room, you might not know what every individual person likes, or how far you can push with someone, or how chummy they are with you. Like some broadcasters like to keep it very professional, where they're they'll interact, they'll respond to some questions, but they don't really get friendly with you. Whereas with you, it seems like you are like very personable, and you're like kind of like personalize it to the person. Like with Eric, you shoot the shit and you guys talk shit to each other. But with someone else, you probably don't do that. You're probably a little more friendly, a little nicer, depending on, the person. And I think that's something that you build up over time. And again, it's hard when someone comes in, you don't know how far to push it, because you don't know what that person is like. It's like meeting anyone. You got to start at a, baseline, be, respectful. And then just, like you said, just from watching the streamer, you can, and how others interact with the streamer, you can see and, gauge how you can interact and how far you can push it. Although you probably don't want to start off with being super chummy if you're brand new. I don't know, but I feel like as a streamer, it is kind of like, hey, that's allowed here, that's not allowed here. I think, yeah, not just straight up banning them, because that does set kind of like a bad example. Like people will be like, oh shit,
it doesn't seem very welcoming,
right? And it's like, well, now I don't know if I should say this or not, because you're kind of intimidating the rest of your audience, because they're like, well, shit, he got banned for that. I don't know if I am permaban, not even like a timeout,
I like that answer though. It's up to you. I like that.
I think I've seen you do that a couple times. So when people get in the channel and start kind of going a little crazy, but you, instead of like straight up challenging them, that you try to open up conversation with them, which is, I think it shows like you're the bigger man, right? Because you're instead of like just snapping back at them, you're like, you know what, let's try to get this, to get to know this guy, and then you respond to them and try to get them involved. And if I think I've seen you ban someone that just kept going,
Yeah.
but then a lot of the time they don't. Like they'll just like, hey, just I was in your last game and you killed me, and I was a little upset, sorry, But I've seen both sides, and I think that's probably the best way to do it, because you try to like uh, kind of derail the aggression, and then kind of
De-escalate. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
So this may be a little bit more into my personal life, but a lot of what I did prior to being a content creator had to do with information technology. So I worked in IT my career was basically IT. So I worked in, from the help desk all the way up to, working with people of very, very high level. Case in point, me being, associated to the Army and the Marine Corps. I worked for both. So a lot of it has to do with dealing with people who are fighting for our lives. First off, salute to all the people who put their lives on the line. But additionally, you have people who are of very different characteristics. And one thing that I was trained before in the past is never meet aggression with aggression, because the end result is aggression. The best way to try to approach it is to try to be understanding of the person and try to de-escalate them down. It may not always work, and there's going to be times where you're going to have to put your foot down. Like, all right, you're out of line. You're not willing to work this out. So let's nip this in the bud. But then there's also that person who's like, hey, I had that bad game, and I was just frustrated at the fact that you killed me so well. Or, hey, I had a bad day today, so I came into the first stream I could find and just I kind of had to vent. And that's happened. It's happened on both sides. So it's like, having that level of not only tolerance, but that understanding is something that I've accumulated from my own experiences, my own endeavors. So not everybody has to follow that. I mean, at the end of the day, each individual content creator, streamer, broadcaster, it's their house. You do what you want. If you're the streamer, if you don't like it and you don't want to deal with it, by all means, you're not obligated to. But like I said, it's something that I've experienced over time. So trial and error, trying to grow here and there. It may need for you to be able to be a little bit more understanding.
So I got a question for you. So, knowing what you know now, what would you tell S0ulSaint of 24 months ago when you started?
Oh man, dude. Okay. Trust yourself. Oh, okay. My first one would be to trust yourself. The ideas you have are really good, and to be to understand that you're not in control of everything. And surround yourself with people who are going to nurture you, not leech you off of you. I think those are some big ones that I would say right off the rep. And once you have a goal, stick to it. Push forward. You're going to get knocked down. Take those in stride, and get back up. Rise above it all. That's why you're the ascended.
Yep. How about in the way you do things, like to start off, right? Like,
oh, okay. So it's like tips for like a newcomer, like that's getting his feet wet. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna get a little technical here for a bit. Video is not the most important thing that you're gonna have to worry about when it comes to the technical aspects of things. Make sure you have a good connection first and foremost, because it's gonna suck if you disconnect all the time. I've been there, done that. Also, audio is going to be really, really important. So learn to balance sounds across the board. Figure out, if the aesthetic of you, what you're trying to present whenever you're live. Sometimes it may be funny to be kind of how do you call it, scuffed. It may not look the best or whatever, but maybe that plays to your theme more. By all means, go for it. But make sure it serves a purpose. But in terms of like overall focus, definitely want to make sure that you have good audio just as much as your video. Additionally, if you are looking to make something big of this, be willing to get personal, in the sense of not maybe telling everything about your life. I don't mind having privacy, so I don't want to say that, but if you're willing to, you'd be surprised at how many people may think differently of what you consider yourself. So if you're willing to be in front of a camera, that helps make people understand, who are you? Who is this guy? What is the face to this voice that I'm hearing? And that may strengthen that relationship that you're building. And then also, I guess this is also the most important too as well. Enjoy it. Enjoy the times where you're by yourself and nobody's watching you. Enjoy the times where everybody's watching. find that passion, that love for why you do it in the first place. Understand what you're trying to do. Like if your goal isn't just because you enjoy it, if you have some common goal, make that apparent, be upfront with it. Not only for the people who may watch you, but for yourself specifically, because I think the worst thing you can do is lie to yourself. I mean, those are some good examples.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. I think that goes with you left it kind of broad, so it kind of goes with everything, right? So you're starting with either streaming, YouTube, podcasting, whatever.
Oh, you want me to go more? Oh, I got
No,
so much I want to do. I just didn't want to tangent too long.
No, I'm just saying it's good advice for everyone as a whole.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like information you can apply to a lot of things.
Yeah. I think one last one that I would really, and this is the only one I'm going to push to really make a voice for. In my experiences, I have seen more success in my endeavors, whether that's through content creation or other avenues. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You'd be surprised how getting outside of your normal space, your comfort zone, may be a blessing for you.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're willing to experiment, you never know what you're going to stumble. You may find that diamond in the rough, and there you go, magic happens.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
all right.
I mean, we're about a little over an hour, so I mean, if you guys have anything else.
So, you got anything?
Yeah, sure. I want to take this opportunity. It's been a long time since we've been talking about wanting to do this, but I want to thank Eric and Oscar here for allowing me to be on this, just to kind of give my point of view on things. And I want to thank everyone that's listening in, and also anyone who may be having a hard time. It may not mean much coming from a stranger, but just know that you're not alone, and to always keep your head up. There's one last little thing is like the reason why I called my community the Ascended Knights in the first place. I view Knights in the light of being someone who's an upstanding citizen, someone to look up to, but also being ascended means that you can rise above it all. So I know we all go through things in life and whatnot, and not everybody may know your story, but you do. And one thing that I want to tell you is if you are able to get up and rise above your situation and keep standing after being knocked down, you are ascended. So I'm proud of you, and keep on keeping on.
That positivity, I'm telling you.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. Hey, too much negativity in the world. We gotta change it.
Exactly.
Right, especially right around this time, man. It's
yeah, true.
Nah, man. Hopefully, this is not the first and last time. Or hopefully it's not the last time. I mean, you pretty much like a lot of the stuff that we like, anyways, because Oscar's anime, and I think I've heard you talk about some of the animes that he's recommended to me, anyways.
Oh.
So don't be we won't be shy asking you if you want to come in another one or two of the episodes. So
absolutely, I'm down.
We'll do that. But yeah, man, it was fun. I mean, we get to see you on stream and stuff like that, and I know sometimes you're a little busy, but behind the scenes stuff is a lot of stuff that people don't see. Because I mean, I kind of see it because we do play like on the weekends and stuff, and sometimes I hit you up or you hit me up and you're busy, or when you hit me up like, hey, I've been doing this all day, you want to game or something, and then we can see that you've been doing stuff behind the scene, and a lot of people don't see that, which it's a lot of work, man, and people take it lightly, but it's appreciated. So I mean, I watch your stuff on YouTube, and your jump scares are hilarious to me. So
oh, thank you, dude.
Yeah, amazing, and that's why I try to do the little sound bites as much as possible when you're going through the creepy halls in your scary games.
Yeah, you take it a little easy on your boy, man. My heart's pumping too much, huh?
Shit's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
Nah, no, but thank you for joining us today. Make sure everyone goes and checks out Mr. S0ulSaint on Twitch. Also his YouTube. He also has a Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. All the good stuff.
S0ulSaint, the same.
Yeah, we're across the globe, dude. We're trying to do what we do.
Yeah, nice. Sometimes it's hard to get that the same name across all the platforms, man. Stuff.
I am somewhat successful and somewhat not successful. So it's a Hey, there's a couple. So the only reason why I have a 0 in my name is because of the fact that the original S0ulSaint was taken. So it feels bad.
Damn.
Yeah.
But I got it in other areas like YouTube. Feels good, man.
Okay. Yeah.
So-
I'll put the links in the description.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for being on, man. It's nice to have an insight into like streaming, because I mean, what I got from this is that there's a hell of a lot going on behind the scenes. Like most people, you hear they're like, I mean, you just play games for a living. Like, how hard is that? But I mean, you're doing a lot more. You're advertising, you're editing, you're setting up, you have to learn technical stuff so you can troubleshoot on the go, because if you have a schedule that you need to maintain, so if something goes down, you got to fix it. And all kinds of stuff, man. It's a lot of work. Like you said, you are doing like a little bit of every job as a production, producer,
Absolutely.
actor, everything. So,
it's a big misconception for sure. It's not just there's some people who do it just to do gaming, and you'll see the results of it. Either they're really successful because they're really good, or not so much successful because they're just another person playing a game.
Right.
For me and what I try to present, it's a lot more than that. But to each his own. Each his own. I think definitely we try to do things that are unique and diverse, that may make us stand out a little bit more than your average bear.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. And then all the emotes you have on your channel.
Oh, and it's ever growing too. Oh my god.
No, it's fun, man. It's fun.
I appreciate it.
Challenge you to Warcraft 3 again, so play that.
I'm disabling that.
Man.
I'm good.
That was pretty sad.
Oh no, don't play that, dude. Oh. Listen, I don't play that game very often.
No,
dude.
I know. That's why I was sad.
Fit,
I mean, like, I feel for you, man. Like that would have been me. I've played the game before, but I probably would have lost just as badly.
Listen, man, if we would have had like 10 plus people who would have just said, "Hey, I'll join you for this," because Super even said himself, he's like, "Yo, if you want to, you can fight others." I was like, "Listen, everybody, get in here, let's go."
Nobody was like, "Nah." They're like, "Nah, we know
better."
Nah.
They knew better, but I had to suffer, dude. Feels bad, man.
Yeah.
I think I did a 4-on-1. I think that's where I couldn't do it.
Dude, I wanted everybody against you.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
We're gonna let you lose. It's like, okay.
I won and I still donated.
That was nice of you. You didn't have to know.
I just thought it was fun. I mean, I wasn't doing it because I was in the win or whatever. I was toying with you. And I think Eli and someone else was on Discord with me, and they were like, "Oh, do this. Like we were having fun behind the scenes. And I know you muted us, but it was fun. I mean, that's what it's all about.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Interaction, man. That's cool.
Yeah. And I'm grateful for it, dude. You were one, like when that was when I actually first came up with the idea, and it first went live for people to kind of interact with it. You and a couple other people were like the first to jump on it and get involved, and it's really nice to see that kind of support from people. Like, hey, he's putting like these ideas. It really hurts content creators. I'll speak for me. It's really sad to see like whenever an idea that I put into fruition or I put a lot of effort into doesn't get reciprocated as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it means just as much for us whenever somebody instantly jumps on. It's like, you know what? I'm behind this idea. I like this idea. Let's get involved with it. They get involved with it, and then it creates magical moments, which is really, really dope. So thank you for being one of the first to actually do the challenges.
Yeah, man. I mean, I thought that was a cool idea, man. Even though it costed like half my points at first, but yeah, it's all right.
Well, you can earn them back.
How many points is it?
He cut it down now.
Yeah, so points, what we're referring to for anybody that's listening, when you watch a channel for a certain period of time, you accumulate what's called channel points. I nicknamed them armor points since it's thematic with like knighthood and knights and stuff like that. So you got armor points, right?
Mm-hmm.
At first, when I first implemented the idea, I didn't want it to be too reoccurring, so that like basically it would take the forefront of the stream. Like I didn't want it to be too intruding, right? I wanted to be like special moments here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So I had raised it to like an extravagant amount, which is like 200,000. Which it takes a while for you to get those points, right?
Hell yeah.
Eric here did go and do it right when that opportunity came up. But after careful observation and feedback, that's one thing that I would recommend for other people is like, even though you're implementing ideas, you're doing your thing. Constructive criticism is always welcome. So be used to hearing feedback like, hey, this is a little bit much, and which I did receive. I was like, hey, this is going to take X amount of time for me to accumulate this. It's kind of good. It's a lot. And I was like, okay, I can understand that. So, after reflection, we kind of turned it down. I think it's down to like 25,000 now, which is like not even. It's like less than a fourth of what we had before. So
yeah, that's cool.
It allows people who have been watching for a little bit, not too spammable, but it allows people to kind of, those who have been hanging out for a while is like, okay, now I can kind of get involved, and they can do that too.
Awesome.
I think I think that when I saw how expensive it was at first, like I was like, it makes sense because you don't want to have it so that everyone that comes to your channel,
Can do it instantly, yeah.
yeah, because then you'll be switching games if they keep challenging you in different games, switching
Right.
games like every other 30 minutes or so. So I think it would take away a little bit from your channel if everyone could just spam it.
Right, and that kind of goes to the whole scheduling thing. Like, I may have plans for something. Those little events here and there, I have like a buffer, and it's kind of why, like, when it comes to scheduling, I don't really have like a specific end time. I kind of go based on the feel. Sometimes there's the days where like things are super interactive, things are going a little bit wild, so it's like, let's bask in this a little bit longer. And then there's times where it's not as interactive as we want it to be, or what we were expecting. So we kind of like, okay, this might be a good time to kind of just reel it in and just kind of call it for tonight, or something along those lines. And mind you, I do need to sleep too. So like, there's a balance. There's a balance.
Hey, sleep and eat. Yep.
So yeah, we're always tinkering with stuff like that just to make it a little bit more enjoyable for people.
Yeah, no, it's cool, man. There's a lot of stuff that you do and the new stuff. I mean, you're constantly involved, and there's things that you do differently or try to do differently. And with the sub goals, with the night, you used to have the points where we can gamble, and that took a lot of your chat space up.
Yeah. I wanted to tune it down too as well, because I didn't want to be like a channel that was encouraging gambling or whatever, Because I'm not gonna lie, there was a moment where someone was like, this could be like a gateway to someone actually having a gambling addiction. I was like, and I had to reflect. I was like, is this what I want to have happen? And I also experienced that where it's like, I was just I'm trying to have a conversation with somebody. I'm like, I'm trying to talk to people watching, and I want you guys to respond back to my questions, or to like, I want my interaction to go a certain way, and they're like too busy gambling. That's not.
I had like freaking 5 million points at one time, dude. I was gambling like everything I could.
Well, another thing too is like some people were kind of like wondering, like there's like a formula behind being able to do it. And I was like, wait a minute, that's kind of weird. So that was another incentive. I was like, what? I started seeing some people get a little too successful where they would just like, and I left it on overnight too, even when I wasn't live. So like I started seeing people still in the chat gambling. Like, oh my god, this is kind of weird.
Yeah, that sounds like it was getting out of hand for sure.
Yeah, so I was like, we might need to, not.
But like I said, constant evolution and changing things up here and there is pretty awesome.
I'm surprised you remember that. That's actually really cool.
That was one of your freaking gambling addicts. What are you talking about?
True, dude. I'm glad I weaned you off. Let's go. At least on my channel.
I know, dude. All right. Yeah, we're probably like over an hour and 20 minutes now.
Cool.
I'm sorry.
Okay. No, it's good.
Hey, we're enjoying ourselves. That's the whole point,
Yeah, just like you said, gotta have fun with it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me, man. I'm really grateful. This is super dope. I enjoy it. I think anybody else that's ever, you guys ever want to reach out to get involved with, man, they'd be lucky to be on this podcast. It's super fun. I enjoy it. Thank you.
Yeah, we try to interact. We don't get too much stuff, but like you said, we are the marketing team, and we don't do the best at our marketing. So I think we just need to get up a notch on that. But yeah, we have a lot of different topics too. So we try to reach out and ask people what they want to hear from us, different perspective on different things, and try to variety of things.
Yeah,
we're a variety.
Hey, it's all about experimenting and growing, right? That's the dream.
Yeah,
keep it going, dude. You guys are on the right path for sure.
Thanks, man.
Well, I think we've been consistent for 3 years now.
Let's go.
Is it 3? Damn, I don't know. I thought it was only 2.
I don't know. With this whole COVID thing, everything feels so long.
Yeah.
Regardless, even if it's for like 6 months or something like that, not many people make it that long. Some people dip their toe in the water and they're done. You guys have been trying to do it and constantly tinkering and experimenting, probably just as much as I have, and it's really cool to see it. So I'm really happy here, man. It's good stuff. Keep it up.
Thanks, man.
But anyways, well, we'll close it out here. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoy your day as well, if you listen to the morning or whatever your night. But again, we're S0ulSaint.
No in.
And I'm Eric.
I'm Oscar.
Let's all say bye-bye.
Guys.
All right, later.